Update: I 38 male just found out that my brother 19 male has been perving on my wife 37 female. Throwaway cause I am still the only one that knows. Background: my brother has been staying with us since lockdown. After his university closed, he couldn't stay with our parents cause they just sold the house and moved to a 1-bedroom apartment, and our sister lives in a different part of the country. He was the oops baby, so I hope that explains the age gap. My wife and I have a 5-bedroom home but currently don't have children yet. We decided to adopt 2 kids in our 40s, so we let him stay here. My brother has always been different. He's a bit of a loner and doesn't have a lot of friends outside of his online group. He's a shy geeky kid, but he's otherwise alright, or so I thought when you get to know him. So here's what happened. The Wi-Fi doesn't quite reach my brother's room, so he usually does his schoolwork and other stuff in the dining room. A few nights ago, I was walking to the fridge after waking up in the middle of the night. Wife and I sleep early and saw my brother working on something out, and as I got closer, I saw a very compromising picture of my wife cleavage shot as she was gardening. He noticed me and quickly closed the window like he was watching porn. I was too shell-shocked to say anything at that time, and he just mother-in-lawed awkwardly and ran to his room with the laptop. When I realized that something was up, I knew I had to find out. The next day, I asked my brother to pick up some groceries and some lunch for us, and while he was away, I went to his room, something I've never done since he moved, and, well, it wasn't pretty. I saw a couple of my wife's bras and some of her panties, which I can only assume he used to pleasure himself. I took his laptop and decided to snoop. I knew his password cause I borrowed his Crunchyroll account to watch this anime my friend recommended. I don't usually watch anime. There I saw some of the most sickening entries I've read. There were pictures of my wife in a towel, her working out, her in compromising positions, etc. All taken without her consent by the looks of it. The ducker even logs every time he touches himself to the image of my wife. The creepiest part, he sometimes listens in on us when we have sex. My wife can be a bit loud, but we didn't think it would be a problem since his bedroom was in a different part of the house, guest bedroom. I left the room feeling like I needed a shower. It was absolutely disgusting. Now I don't know what to do. I find myself fighting the urge to pummel him into next week every time I see him. I haven't told my wife yet cause I am 100% sure she will feel violated and disgusted, so I want to find the best solution first before doing so. I so desperately want to kick him out, but he has nowhere else to go. Even if I do, what should I tell my parents? The truth. This will most likely break the famother-in-law apart. I do plan on telling my wife soon, but if I do, I can almost guarantee she would want nothing to do with him and would never want to visit the famother-in-law if he's around. I am so ducking lost right now. Any advice will help. Still fighting the urge to beat my brother to a bloody pulp. Edit: if you're wondering, I did take pictures as proof. Small update: I told my wife. The Redditors who said I should tell her first before anything cause she was the victim were absolutely right. I am giving her all the power to decide what to do about it. A lot has happened, but there are still things that need to be settled. Too long to add here and too incomplete to make a new update post. Hopefully we'll have everything settled tomorrow or the day after. I'll write the update once everything is settled and I calm down. No, I am not going to beat up my brother, but I have thought about it. And to the people asking for the pics, you're disgusting. Hope the women in your life are proud of you. That's my wife. Please have some respect. Update. This update was long overdue, so I apologize to everyone who waited for this. I've had daily messages asking me about what happened, and now that I am in a better place to actually talk about it, I can tell everyone about what happened. First of all, thank you to the Redditors who pointed out that I should tell my wife first before confronting my brother. You were right. She did appreciate the fact that I gave her control over the situation. I told my wife the next day after posting, and needless to say, she did not take it well. She says she feels violated and unsafe in her own home. See, the thing is, my wife and I have been together for almost 15 years, so we literally saw this kid grow up. We took him out to the movies, to the beach, etc. We sometimes even joked to my parents that he was our practice baby. My wife has a tendency to distrust people in general, as a lot of people in her life have let her down in the past. Imagine how hurt and betrayed she was when she found out someone she trusted and loved dearly betrayed her like that. Honestly, if I wasn't consoling my wife then, I probably would have gone through with the initial idea and beat the ever-living crap out of my brother. After she calmed down and went to sleep, I called my sister and talked about the situation. My sister and I are close. Given that we're Irish twins, I feel like she needed to know cause she has 2 teenage daughters herself, and who knows what my brother would do to them if given the chance. We talked and she was clearly mad. She loves my wife like a sister and are quite close themselves. She said she would support whatever decision we make and that our brother would also be unwelcome at her place for the foreseeable future. Then we confronted my brother. At first he denied it, but when I showed him the evidence, he started ugly crying and begging us to forgive him. I gave him an ultimatum. Either he lets me in his phone laptop and delete everything, or I call the police. There was so much more shit on his computer than I initially thought. So many more stolen pictures of my wife that were definitely taken without consent. The ducker even recorded the audio of us having sex. Who does that? So after hours of me looking for as much shit as possible, and pretty much clearing most of his hard drive, he eventually left without much of a fight. Oh, and we definitely threw out my wife's father-in-law underwear and are most likely going to have the room he stayed in cleaned professionally. I checked and thankfully he didn't have any hidden cameras anywhere. Oh, and if you're wondering how he got pictures of my wife in a towel, the shower for the masters doesn't have hot water yet, so my wife uses the shared one in the same area. She would usually walk out of the bathroom with just a towel on and go change in our walk-in closet. This shouldn't have been a problem cause the guest bedroom was in a different part of the house far from the main bedrooms and it had its own bathroom, so my brother had no reason for being there. Needless to say, my wife is still shaken up about the whole thing, which is why I didn't think about writing an update until now. I am sorry, but my wife's well-being is my priority above anything else. My mom eventually called me asking what happened. She seemed very confused, so I figured my brother didn't tell her anything at all. I told her what happened, and needless to say, it did not end well. She kept asking me to forgive my brother and take him back in. She ranted about how difficult it would be to support him and how what I am doing is breaking the mother-in-law apart. I let her talk till I eventually said my brother would no longer be welcome in my home. I told her that she needed to get him therapy and that until then, there's no chance we would ever see him. My mom told me she'd talk to my sister about it and I said, good luck. She's mad at him too. Not sure what's going to happen to our mother-in-law now. The reason why we got the big house was cause we wanted everyone to come over during the holidays and stay with us, but I am not sure if my parents will at this point, and there's no chance my brother is ever coming back anytime soon. Thankfully my sister is 100% on my side, and we're going to talk about what we're doing for Thanksgiving soon. My wife hasn't really been the same either, but she's getting better now that my brother is gone. We're talking about therapy, which is something she's very willing to try out. We took a drive to the beach earlier, chill guys. We didn't leave the car and talked about the future. We both agreed that after this whole COVID thing is over, we're going to finally start our mother-in-law with kids. We want to. Being a mom is something she always wanted, but we both wanted to be financially secure enough to give them a good life and for us to also be in a position where we didn't have to work so much and just spend time with them. The sparkle in her eyes when we talked about our life together with kids told me that while things aren't good right now, we're going to be okay. I honestly can't wait to be a dad myself. So yeah, long story short, brother is gone. Wife is still sad. Sister is on my side, but mom isn't, and I am going to be a dad in a few years. Thanks to everyone who gave me their advice. It honestly helped me clear my head and make the right decision to tell my wife first. Oh, and to answer questions that may come up. No, we did not go to the police. My brother deleted everything voluntarily and left without a trace. I am sure the pictures are still out there somewhere, but thankfully they aren't too explicit that it would severely damage my wife's reputation. And no, we aren't going to try and get pregnant or anything like that. We plan on adopting, which is something we both talked about early on. So again, thanks to everyone who messaged and commented. I may not have read everything nor have I replied to everyone, but rest assured you are all greatly appreciated. How securely did you delete the father-in-laws? Otherwise they may still be recoverable. Sorry to see this. Friend, it sucks, but it sounds like you and your wife and your sister are together in this. That's a good support network to have. It's all I can think about reading it. Absolutely everything can be easily recovered in like 10 minutes. And being a creep teenager, I really think he already did it. He should have at least kept the HD. I'm glad you guys kicked him out. What he did is disgusting and violating. Your mom trying to convince you to get over it isn't okay either, and completely disrespectful and inconsiderate to your wife. Who's the victim here? I wouldn't even feel comfortable being around him ever again if I was her. The idea of my husband's little brother doing that to me is just traumatizing and gross. I'm sorry she had to deal with that. I hope she can overcome it and find peace again. Good luck with the kids. Yeah, she's still pretty shaken, but I know this will pass. I am definitely not going to force the idea of my brother being around her again, even after he gets therapy. And thanks for the kind words. I can't wait to be a dad. Dude, your mom is off her rocker. She strikes me as the kind of person who still claims my son would never do this, as she's bailing him out of jail for shooting illegal upskirt shots from a hidden camera in the mall bathroom. Second story. My GF led me to believe I got her pregnant, but I found it wasn't mine after the birth. Need support. I've been on Reddit a while and began lurking this sub when I first suspected my GF was cheating. I had hoped I wouldn't be here posting, but here we are. I 28 male have been with my GF 25 female for just about 2 years. The relationship was good and then she tells me she's pregnant. For the most part, I'm careful and she said she was on birth control. I was skeptical but went to an appointment. I then figured it was just one of those things. I always wanted a mother-in-law, so even though this was not how I wanted to begin, I was overjoyed. We're past the first trimester and I have her move in at her insistence. Insert red flag I missed. We're planning what we will do work-wise and how to set up the baby's room. She is pretty insistent she will go back to work but be able to stay home. She swears she can make it work. I go to every appointment with her. Things are still good. We're in the 3rd trimester and I make my schedule work to still go to every appointment. Up until this point, I had been at each appointment in its entirety. This one appointment, she's asked me to wait so she can talk to the doctor first. I'm super concerned that something is wrong with the baby and she didn't want me to hear. I go in and the checkup is done. Everything looks good. My GF brushes off my concern over why I couldn't be there for all of it. Another red flag. We're about a month and a half from the due date and I notice her being kind of secretive with phone calls and texts. She tells me it's work and it's confidential, etc. My antenna is now up so I try to get looks at her phone. She's got Snapchat and Kik. I find it strange but don't confront her. The baby is born and I'm overwhelmed with emotion. The child is perfect and things went fine. Then comes the part where they want me to go on the birth certificate. My GF becomes really insistent about it. She's constantly asking me to do it and seems way more anxious I've ever seen her. Here's the red flag I didn't miss. I don't do it. We have an argument but she stops pushing. I think it's because she knows how suspect it looks already. We're home and she has to go tend to the baby after it woke up. I noticed she set her phone down to go to the baby. I couldn't help it and looked. It was still unlocked. I start looking for texts or calls. I then find a whole conversation on Kik with a guy. All the updates of her appointments. Pictures of her and the baby. Then I see it. The place she says she thinks it's his child. I confront her and she apologizes. She admits the baby could be mine or someone else but she thinks it's mine. I demand a paternity test and leave. It's been about a week since the confrontation. The results came in yesterday and the baby isn't mine. She's gone to live with her mother. Here's the best part. It took me a lot of digging seeing as all I had were usernames she talked to him too. The father is her boss. The secrecy was for him. The boss with a wife and 4 kids in middle and high school. I found the wife on Facebook and sent her all I had, including texts from my GF saying it's his. I'm heartbroken so many ways. I'm lucky in a lot of ways here but I'm so hurt. This has completely changed my whole outlook. I'm bitter, angry and untrusting. I have no idea how to recover from this. Hit like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing to our channel.